yours. Thank you, Brenda. Well, it's fun to be here with you for EMCC's Recycles Day. I can't sit there at this podium. Anyway, hello to everyone online. I know we've got the online open as well, and I'm just happy to take a few minutes to talk a little bit. You know, I'm going to wait because it looks like we've got students walking in. Oh, come on in. They're here. We were waiting for you. Oh, they got to sign in. Well, while they're signing in, good morning, students, faculty. We have a lot of guests here. The city of Avondale, the city of Phoenix, some of our other organizations, Coca-Cola. A few of those who will be speaking with you today. We've got visitors from our district office as well to kick this off with us. So we just appreciate everyone's time. I want to start out by just acknowledging, first of all of the hard work that has gone into pulling these events together. I know they look so easy when they run, but there's been a lot of planning, a lot of prep work, a lot of coordinating that has happened. And it certainly takes someone who's willing to step up, to have a vision for something and to take ownership for that. And I really want to give a shout out to Lena Sibley for doing this and for coordinating. She could work closely with others, Brenda, Dr. Liz Ken too, Bill, who leads our facilities team, and the whole entire facilities team. And I want to just take a minute to acknowledge our facilities team and the tremendous work that they do here at this college. As you walked on campus or as you come to classes here, we have an extremely beautiful campus. And that is because we have a very dedicated team who comes in early, works through the night to ensure that we have a beautiful space for our students to learn and for our faculty and staff to come into work. So just a huge shout out to Phil and to your team, our facilities team, for doing that. So I want to start out by, first of all, acknowledging that the month of November, we are celebrating Native American Heritage Month here at the college. We've had a few activities happening, but that kind of prompted this conversation around the intersectionality of sustainability and marginalized communities, specifically our Indigenous communities. So first of all, I want to acknowledge that this was a space, I have my back to this was a space where I didn't feel like I knew as much as I wanted to know. And so I want to first of all thank Elena for sitting down with me and answering some questions for me, helping me to understand. And then I went and did a little bit of research of my own to better understand this. So I just want to take a few minutes to share with you some of the things that I found in my research about this intersectionality of gender, race, and sustainability. So first of all, as champions, I know Zach's here with his class, but champions of sustainability, you've likely encountered that term, intersectionality. This concept really invites us to recognize and embrace the complexity of human identity and that experience. It urges us to understand the issues of environmental justice, social equity, and sustainability. They're interwoven threads, each influencing each other. So as I shared, I took a little bit of time to research this to better understand it. And I came across a term of intersectional environmentalism. Not heard that. That was a term first coined by Leah Thomas, who was the founder of the Intersectional Environmentalist Platform. And in her words, she said, intersectional environmentalism is an inclusive version of environmentalism that advocates for both the protection of people and the planet. So consider this. Just as the health of our planet relies on the delicate balance of ecosystems, the success of our sustainability efforts hinges on recognizing and addressing diverse experiences and needs of individuals within our community. That's where the intersectionality lens comes into play. So when we think of recycling, the practice often others solely associate with environmental conservatism gains a new dimension when we view that through a lens of intersectionality. Recycling isn't just about reducing our carbon footprint. It's a conduit for addressing social and economic disparities. Think about the individuals who contribute to recycling efforts, often marginalized communities. Many of these communities bear the brunt of environmental implications. By embracing intersectionality, we acknowledge that the fight for a healthier planet is inseparable from the fight for social justice. So as you embark on your sustainability journey, remember that your impact extends well beyond waste bins and carbon footprints. It reaches into the lives of those whose stories make difference in tomorrow. Seek to understand, seek to uplift, and collaborate with diverse voices, recognizing that the solutions we craft must be inclusive and multifaceted as the challenges we face. So as you embark on this day of looking at sustainability, I invite you to look at it through a lens of how your experience is different from those here in the room and different from those who you encounter, and how these decisions and this work that we do, while it certainly protects our planet and provides a future for our kids and our grandkids. I have 2 grandbabies and I want a future for them, but it really is about bringing us together and respecting, honoring the differences between us and finding common spaces where we can grow together and we can sustain and support our planet and our beautiful world that we live together. So have fun today. Thank you for being here. I know some of the faculty brought your classes here. Thank you for being here. I really invite you to engage with this work. So have fun, you guys.
Thank you, Dr. Livingston. We do have some other things going on. We're going to be having a lot of really interesting speakers come in today. I'm a science nerd. I'm a recycle guru, so I'm real excited to hear these speakers talk to us today. And then that's going to go through 11 o'clock. And then afterwards, we're going to be having out in the Kamaki courtyard over by where you go to advisement and speak to career services. We're gonna have some really awesome tables and booths displays. Our animal ambassadors are gonna be there. We're also gonna have a fry bread truck, some free samples for you. So after all of our events this morning and our presentations, please be sure to go over to the Kamaki courtyard and check out all the really cool things that are there. All right, our next speaker, well, I think I have to stop sharing and reshare. Gonna get set up. Oh, here we go. I need to share again. Oh, please, thank you. I'm sorry, I've been really technology challenged the last 2 days. I need to bring up Anthony's. I need to share Anthony's this presentation. Yeah, that's what. Yeah. One. No, you're good. It's me. It's me. I'm technology challenged the last 2 days. I don't know what's going on. So I'd like to bring up from our Maricopa Community College District of Office of Sustainability, Mr. Anthony Garcia. And he's going to talk about the who, what, why, and how of sustainability and describe it and why we should all care, why students, staff, faculty, everyone should care about it, discover what's happening around Maricopa Community College District and how you can help us all create a better, more sustainable world.
All right, can everybody hear me? Can I use a microphone? Okay, awesome. Well, my name is Anthony. I recently, kind of recently graduated from ASU with my degree in sustainability. And after that, I went to work for a forestry company up north, working on sustainable initiatives on their main crop, which were trees. And I also got to incorporate some science with that. So I also helped them identify different fungi by their DNA. And once we identify those fungi, we can apply those fungicides to keep the trees alive and keep them healthy. Also worked with the USDA on some biofuels research, which is pretty awesome, pretty cool. But I've been working for the past 9 years at South Mountain Community College and just transferred over to the Office of Sustainability, the district office. And it's been pretty awesome. Been pretty amazing so far with all the things that we've been planning around the district. So right now, I'm the sustainability project manager, probably the only person in the district that has sustainability in the title, but I'm hoping that we can get that to change and grow our team and grow our mission and make an impact across the district. So first thing in the morning, I have a pop quiz for you guys. So where do we take our resources from? I'll give you a hint, it's on the slide. Right, Earth, okay, awesome. Cool, so what types of things do we take from Earth? Oil, right? We drill for oil, for fuel.
Yeah.
Water, right? Yeah, water helps our farming and agriculture. Trees, yes. Yes, minerals, we mine for minerals for our homes and our technology. And the next question is, what do we make with those resources? Everything, right? So we have, fossil fuels, you said trees. Trees make everything from paper to diapers even, that I learned at working for that company. What was that? Furniture, right? So it's pretty much everything that we interact with. And so we have that environmental impact of pulling resources, natural resources from our ecology, and we make them into things, right? And so this translates into a monetary value, right? So we make it in the hopes that we can, live a better life, make something from it, but we also want to exchange things, right? So we have a sense of currency. It helps our economy, right? It drives things. And so usually those things that we mine, right, minerals, oil, are usually free, right? In that sense, if you're thinking about it. Although the act of transporting it, managing those systems, that's what costs money, right? So we make all those things with that economic impact. And then where does it all go? Stays here, surplus. Surplus. Inside joke there. Yeah, where does it go? Does it go away? Where is it away? Doesn't go away. Right? I'm sure we have some speakers today that can tell us exactly where it goes. Right? So I won't get into that. But all of the raw materials extracted from Earth are potential waste and emissions to air, water, and soil. So that's what I really want to drive home. And because we think of throwing things away, but it doesn't really necessarily go away, and that impacts us, our environments, potentially impacts our homes, us as social beings. And the definition of sustainability, does anybody know it? Like specifically what sustainability is, like the actual written definition? Have some halfway raised hand, right? So it was kind of defined in 1987 through the Brundtland Report. And it was just, the main thing is sustainable development is trying to meet the needs of the current generation, pulling those resources, right, from the earth, while still having enough resources for future generations to meet their own needs. And that's what it means to be sustainable in that sense. Okay, and so part of sustainability, we have these three aspects: people, planet, and profit. And planet, right? We know we're extracting natural resources, we're potentially degrading the earth in that sense. Profit, we convert that to currency, make some money off of it. And people, why do we make things? For people, right? So that way we can use and we can live and have a high quality of life. So we want to have like general values and variables of sustainability are the education, equality, and mainly just to have a nice quality of life, right? For economics, it's bottom line, cash flow, key performance indicators, return on investment. We're kind of looking at things that, provide value for us as humans. And our planet, obviously, natural resources, clean air, clean water, and conserving energy and using proper land use. So let me just make sure. Has anybody ever heard of Love Canal? Yes, we have one hand raised. Okay. So Love Canal, back in the 50s, well, back in the turn of the century, some guy named William Love built a canal from one river to another because he was trying to do like generate power, renewable energy. That didn't work out because the canal just kind of dried out. So just kind of a dry canal there. Well, a company got the bright idea to just put their hazardous waste right in that canal, put dirt over it, kind of just bury it. All right, that's kind of what we have to do with our waste, right? And we're there starting to think about, we're generating tons and tons of waste. What do we do with it? It just wears away, just in a ditch somewhere, right? So that's where it goes. So Love Canal, they decided to put all of their metal containers, their 55-gallon drums of chemicals, into a canal, bury it. Just, okay, it's gone. Was it really gone? No, right? So somehow they got approval to build a community right next to this canal. And over time, over a few years, with raining and erosion, water seeped into the ground and pulled the chemicals out. So the drum started leaking, and it was a big, disaster, natural disaster. We had families, mothers giving birth to children with birth defects. People were higher chances of having cancer if you lived in that area, right? And so you have that little kid saying, please help me. So it was a dire situation, right? And the interesting thing why I bring it up too is because after it rained one day, the canal, which was kind of flooded, had some water in it, was so contaminated that it actually lit on fire. And so who expects water to light on fire, right? It must have been really contaminated. So those are the types of things that around the middle of the century, we're kind of thinking about, okay, we have all this waste, we're generating all these things, we're pulling all these things from the earth, where does it go? And we kind of we didn't have a way to manage it in that sense. We just kind of, everybody do their own thing, it's a free for all, you can do whatever you want to do. So they ended up remediating this based on some solutions. So what came from this and other incidences like this, because it wasn't the only one. You had the Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, Earth Day, the creation of the Environmental Protection Agency all around the 1970s to combat issues just like that. These huge issues that were affecting us in our communities as humans, right? And trying to develop solutions to make sure this never happened again. With that, has it ever happened again? Yes, right. So this was, I think it was in Pennsylvania, or yeah, somewhere along the Northeast. And so you can do some research on it and you can kind of learn more about it, but yes?
It's by Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls. Okay, Niagara Falls, New York. Awesome. Did you live near there or you just remember?
Oh, I just remember, I'm kind of complete.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So, but yeah, so things like this happen again. Unfortunately. Yeah, so long story short, Earth's ecosystems have been destroyed. Trying to provide those solutions and figure out a solution to these things is kind of what sustainability is all about. It's a problem solving. I tell people it's like a problem solving degree that is not just left to one sector or one person, somebody that has sustainability in their title, right? It's all of us. Kind of take that thought, that mentality as far as preserving like what the industries that you guys go into, right? You guys are students. You're an engineer, teacher, doesn't matter. Wherever you go, there are going to be these aspects that affect the environment, society, and the economy. And you just have to kind of use those variables in your job to kind of help us become more sustainable. So that's kind of my challenge to everybody here. Just it's not dedicated to a person with sustainability in a title. It's each and every one of us has a part to play in being a part of sustainable solutions and sustainable future. So I really love this graphic. Oh, it starts. Okay, awesome. So these are satellites that NASA has, and these are swirling around above us right now. And so this just goes to the lengths that scientific research and scientific discovery that's happening 24/7 around us on Earth right now. So if there's something that those satellites can pick up, you can tell they're going to be picking it up. And so this leads us to some of the main issues and some of the big problems that not just one person can solve. It kind of will take a collective effort to solve. Like some of these waste issues, some of these big, they call wicked problems. But I just love that graphic. That's happening right now. Carbon kind of leads to carbon. So as we're measuring things on this earth, right? We have the latest data, scientists working on gathering this data. And over the past 400,000 years, carbon has never really passed above 300 parts per million, right? And so the research has shown in the past 100 years, we've went over 420 parts per million. So what does that mean? Does anybody want to take a stab at that? Or you've probably all heard it before. Climate change, those types of things, global warming, right? So it leads to those types of things that humans are causing based on us pulling resources from the earth and using them. Heat trends, this is science that we visualize, that we see last July, here in Arizona specifically, unprecedented, 30 consecutive day of plus 115-degree heat. That ever happened before? No. Hasn't. So that's the trajectory we're headed towards. I don't want to be like doom and gloom, but we have to think about how we're going to either keep this from happening, mitigating the problem. What can you do in your future job to help keep this from happening? Or adapting. How are we going to adapt to a future with rising temperatures in our neighborhoods, at home? You're just going to turn the AC on and just leave everybody up, just enjoy the AC, chilling. There are people that are unhoused. You have to consider. So there's a lot of things that we have to consider that are the big sustainability wicked problems that I just want to share with you all. So what is our response at the district? Well, technically we don't have an official response, but what we've been trying to work on is trying to reduce that carbon emission, right? So if this has been accumulating in our atmosphere, we want to be a part of the solution to help reduce that. And a benefit for that is on the economic side, it actually saves us money to not use so much electricity, right? To be more efficient with our electricity. So that's why it's easy to move forward on those types of things. Encourage everybody where you can to save electricity and be more efficient. Right now we have solar installations at Chandler Community College here. Basic Community College, and the last one is South Mountain Community College. Right, and it produces about 40% of their campus load. So that's one of the big steps we've taken in the past couple of years. More district energy conservation efforts, converting to LED lighting over the pandemic, buying fixtures. We'll start in here, Phil, soon. Okay, so we're working through this now. We're at, I think only one campus is almost complete. That's Glendale, they're almost complete, but we're still moving across the district at a slow and steady pace, trying to increase everything to LED, because, I mean, you have a bulb that will last for 10 years, right? And uses half the energy. So that in itself will save, return on investment on that will save a lot of money, right? We also have new energy efficient handler units. As we upgrade them, we upgrade to the latest technologies to become more efficient. We have a temperature set point program with the district office. So I know sometimes it can get a little too hot, too cold in our classrooms, but we have a certain standard that we have our offices set so that we're being efficient with our energy use. We have occupancy sensors, so in every room, every classroom, you don't have to worry about turning off the lights, it'll turn off for you. And upgrading where we can, insulation and roofs. Water conservation efforts. So we've used, so our ball fields, right? So they take thousands of gallons a year to keep our ball fields green. Football, baseball, soccer, softball, all those. And at campuses where we can, that are connected to the SRP canal, we decided to use the water from the irrigation to water the ball fields, right? So this doesn't necessarily save water because we're still using the water, but it saves drinking water or water that could have been used as drinking water that we're just spraying on the ball fields, that we're just saving. And also, canal water is a lot less expensive, so we're saving on those endeavors. So we also installing low flow water fixtures everywhere we can, touchless preferably, smart irrigation controllers, because they just break, and so we need to know when there's an accident, when there's a drip, when there's a leak, and converting to zero escape. So zero escape, does anybody know what zero escape is? Brave enough to kind of explain it? No? So kind of just transferring to a desert landscape. And so I don't want to be the one that says, you know, if we enter a water crisis, I don't want to be the person that says, okay, everybody, all the facilities across the district, we have to go towards a desert landscape because we can't afford to water our grass or our trees, right? So that could be a possibility. I mean, we were very close to having water shortages in January or so. Thankfully, we had a good rainy season. We were able to sort uphill at our reservoirs, but those are the types of decisions we might be facing in the future as far as where do we cut our water usage? We cut our water usages in the bathroom. We tell people not to wash their hands, or do we save it on the lawn, right? So those types of decisions we have to consider when we're talking about people, planet, and the environment, or people, planet, and money, and the economics. Sustainability of campuses. How am I on time? I don't want to run over.
You're very.
Very close on time? Okay, so we'll just kind of rush through this a little bit, but we are part of a president's climate commitment to try to reduce our carbon around the district. We have our Earth Forward event, which is a community-based event that we invite students from all around the district to attend. Next year, it's going to be at Chandler Gilbert Community College, so keep that on your radar. At Chandler Gilbert Community College, they have Environmental Technology Center where they have vertical gardens, pits, gardening, Adobe brick making, they have a Monarch Way Station that they're about to install with the grants that we provided. A real sustainable cafe food, or sustainable food program. So Rio, they grow their own food for their cafeteria. They grow it on campus and are able to sell it to us district employees. Mesa Community College has an arboretum, so they have 100 species of trees and over 100 or over 80 species of cacti, other succulents. And so this, you can actually see this on their website. They mapped every tree, what it is, and it's part of this greater arboretum across campus. And so the important thing about trees and tree cover is it provides shade, cooling, a bunch of other benefits for our campus, especially if we're facing increased temperatures in the future. Want to make sure that these walkways on our campuses are nice and cool, so you don't have like those sweating marks from your backpack. Right? Scottsdale Center Urban Wildlife, they sell plants there. They have a butterfly Monarch Way Station there, where they track butterflies, because those are pollinators that help our agricultural systems around the valley. They help pollinate plants, and so that's important part of the ecosystem that we're supporting there. Maricopa Seed Library, same thing. We have native seeds that we give out at the library. I'm not sure if it's here, not here. We'll get it here eventually, right? But we have those available at some of our campuses and our food pantries, right? Because we realized that in order to, I was a student, I was hungry, right? And so, over hungry, my mom would say, but too hungry sometimes. No, but I understand, like, that's an issue that students face. And also, so providing food is important to us, and also providing bus passes so that there's transportation to get to campus, right? And so we're thinking about all these things in different ways. Almost done. We have a district-wide sustainability committee for students and staff if they want to join. And we've won some awards recently with the past year for increased efficiencies. So SRP named us as 2023's Champion of Sustainability. And we also won a Clean Air Campaign Award from the Valley Metro for some of our efforts on sustainability. Bless you. So thank you. I'm not sure if I have time for questions.
No, we're
Probably
taking
not.
time.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much.
Joining back in the information.
All right, so I would like to introduce our next speaker. He's somebody near and dear to this campus and to this community. I want to bring forward the Vice Mayor of Avondale and our EMCC business faculty, Mr. Mike Pineda. He's going to provide information on sustainability and recycling from a policy perspective and activities that the city of Avondale offers, and policy decisions, how it matters, how we can all get involved. Mike has a bachelor's in business administration from University of Phoenix, my alma mater, and a master's in secondary education from Grand Canyon University.
All right.
You could probably do this better than I can. I am so technology challenged lately.
There it is.
You want to advance?
Thank you, Brenda.
Thanks, Mike.
Good morning, everybody. How you guys doing?
Good.
All right, good. And thank you for my class for being here. I'm not sure whose class you're with, but I appreciate. Oh, all right, Mr. Zach. And by the way, I'm going to share a couple of words about Zach here shortly. But today you're hearing a lot of information in regards to recycling and sustainability. And I will be right up front and honest. I didn't really know much about this other than where you see taglines like save the planet, save water, use, reuse, all those different things. But after being on the council since 2016 and being re-elected in 2020, it's important that we become somewhat versed in sustainability, recycle, being certified in terms of being a great business, things of that nature. Because after all, as a municipality, our residents expect us to provide the services, number one, but number two, be able to afford them. So today, what I'm gonna talk to you about is sustainability recycle, but more from a policies perspective. And for those of you who are unaware, policy is really the result of a body who works together to make decisions that the communities, counties, states, bless you, must adhere to. So essentially, you're here, you're on this college campus, you adhere to a certain code, a certain standard that's been set forth, and so to us as faculty members, staff members of this campus, as a result of the governing board of this district. So the governing board of this district are the policy-making body that is representative of all of us. So if we can take that same mindset and the same structure and apply it to a city like Avondale, then they too must have a governing body. That governing body is the city council and the mayor. So there's 7. There are 5 council members, the vice mayor and the mayor. And so I was fortunate enough last year to be selected by my fellow council members to serve a 2-year term as the vice mayor. And so the decisions that we make are often the result of experience from our awesome staff, which we have a member today that we'll be talking to you shortly, who are experts in their field. I am not an expert, as I mentioned to you. And I would venture to say that none of us on the council, including the mayor, are experts in recycling sustainability. So we must hire individuals who are. And they then share the information, provide it to us, and in concert with their feedback, their thoughts, and the members of the community, the residents. How many of you live in Avondale now? Anybody? So thank you for choosing Avondale as your home. And so we look for your feedback. How do we do that? By working together with the community to create a plan, a strategic plan, if you will. So that's what I'm going to talk a lot about today, because the results of that strategic plan, because of the communication and the dialogue with our residents and our experts, allow us to kind of create goals and objectives. And then it allows us to try and achieve those goals as part of the plan, and then we can measure that. And then our experts at the city can then convert that data into reports and into information for us as the council and the mayor to determine, is what we're doing effective? And if not, how can we do that? How can we be effective in our decision making? Because as was mentioned by Anthony just a second ago, in regards to return on investment, every activity and action that we take as a council affects those of you who raise your hand. Okay, and then those of you who live in Goodyear or Glendale or Buckeye, Litchfield Park or Phoenix, their councils, their policy-making body are doing the same thing for you. So really at the end of the day, we know as policymakers that we have the needs, the desires of our businesses, of our residents, of our community, and yet we have a budget that we have to work with, just like your own personal budget. You love to do this, that, and the other, but if you only have so much money, you can only do so many things. So how do you get creative? How do you innovate? How are you able to work within the confinement of that budget? Or more importantly, and I'll go ahead and advance here, how are we mindful of state and federal regulations? Because now, aside from just the budget and the strength and restraints you have to work within our, municipality, we have to make sure that what we are doing in terms of that decision making is appropriate. So we have to monitor regulations both again at the state and federal level. So one of the things that I'm very proud of is that members of our community, as part of our sustainability commission, which are residents of Avondale who have come together to serve on a commission to help with this report and some of the details I'm about to provide to you, came together and did just that. So we had businesses, we had community members, residents, some of us, again, policymakers and staff. And out from that, the output was this sustainability report from 2022. And Zach, I'm calling you Zach in front of your students. So it was a resident who participated as on the Sustainability Commission. And so, what he did and what other residents have done is very, very important, being involved. So Up on the board there says Avondale is a thriving, sustainable city. This is our vision, by the way. Is a sustainable city with a resilient community, flourishing environment, a strong economy powered by renewable energy, and access to healthy, active lifestyles for all. It's a great vision to have. It's a lot of words, means a lot of things. But unless you have a body to actually fulfill some of those obligations, then it's just that, it's just words. So how do we convert that input to output? And that's exactly what I'm going to cover today. So the question is, how can a municipality foster development while being mindful of the environment? All day long, when we make decisions, there's impact to those decisions. Or as some of my students in here and some of you are aware of, there's that opportunity cost. So for every decision you make, there's an opposite decision that could have been made, but you have to move forward with one in terms of being decisive. All right. So there's a term out there, and I just kind of referenced some of the other things that are out there in regards to seeking input for residents, community consideration of state and federal regulations, but developing a strategy, implementing that, and collecting the data is kind of where we're going to go next. But first, how many of you have heard the term ESG? Okay, a couple of you, right? And if you haven't, ESG stands for environmental, social, and corporate governance. And that's really where this all comes from. Again, decisions or practices to evaluate how an organization, specifically the city of Avondale, in terms of operational performance and the impact that it has to the environment and to the social makeup of our city, specifically Avondale. Sorry. So there were some strategies as part of the sustainability plan that were developed. So I have them listed on here. You can read them along with like, I'll just cover briefly, and then we're going to transition to the goals and some of the steps that have been taken so far. But before any of those steps could have been taken, again, you have to keep in mind that the budgets have to be identified. And you have to be very creative in how you utilize those funds to then have what the residents of the community desires, as well as, again, as making sure that they are clean and renewable for the future, okay, in regards to saving and reducing use. So preserving and revitalizing existing natural assets, rivers, corridors, and open spaces, ensure convenient, affordable access to nature and its benefits for all, invest in cost-effective green, nature-based infrastructure to mitigate heat and air pollution and manage stormwater, ensure homes, buildings, and businesses use water and energy efficiently, prioritize clean modes of transportation, transition to renewable energy sources, and promote a circular economy where waste is reused as a resource. A lot of which you heard just a second ago by Anthony. But again, these are words and they mean a lot of great things, but how does that translate into action? I had a conversation last week with the city manager. And one of the things we were discussing is that we're having a new fire station built in what is called Old Town Avondale. It's right off Western. If you're familiar with Western, you know that there's a fire station back there. It's old, it's dilapidated. It needed to be torn down and rebuilt. So that is what is going to occur. And just as you or anybody who's possibly where you create it or build it, construct it, you know that you have to pick colors and you have to pick materials and things of that nature. Well, the conversation that we had was in regards to the brick, which you think, okay, brick is brick in regards to construction, and we know we need brick. But what was interesting is that the technology of some of these materials has changed to the extent that a brick is no longer just a brick. The materials that create that brick can be created through the reuse of other materials, which creates, in this case, where is it at? Energy savings. Energy savings translates into dollars saved. So again, in regards to return on investment, you don't want to pay for a material that is going to cost you more in the long term. Or if you have a choice to purchase a material that is not only going to provide you cost savings today, but cost savings tomorrow and in the future, then you can understand how that is a no-brainer. So again, it's all through action. And a lot of it comes from discussion, and it comes from the experts, from the staff who understand these sorts of things, to bring that information to us, the policymaker, so that we can make a decision just like you would if you were going to buy something and had to build it from scratch. So those are some of the strategies in regards to what is used or what has been demonstrated on the sustainability plan. But again, we have to convert that into action. And so these goals were created. They're all listed up above, but I'm gonna transition from these because we can break this down even further. So goal number one was to provide, and I apologize for reading directly from the slides, but I want to make sure that I cover all this information correctly. So goal number one was to provide a safe and convenient and affordable transportation option that improves air quality and supports healthy, active lifestyles. So while, again, those words are great, how do you turn input into output? So if you look down below, you'll see that several of the strategies and actions were identified. Again, through a mix of residents, community organizations, and staff. So input to output looks something like this. Electric vehicles. As a city, how do we now, as we are building new facilities, new infrastructure, take into the account that more people are going to start buying electric vehicles, if they're not already? And if that's the case, how do we make sure that our city is a place in which an individual with an electric vehicle can find multiple places to charge? Because if you haven't heard right now in the news, that is one of the shortcomings, is that there's not a lot of facilities out there that allow for the charge to occur. So in new developments, do we ask those that are coming into development in our city as part of your space that you are going to also construct or house a charging facility? Do we provide more charging facilities on our city-owned property? And if so, what does that look like? So support and prepare for 14,000 EVs in the city by 2030. Again, in regards to investment, that money has to come from somewhere. And it comes from taxes. It comes potentially from grants from the federal government and other means. But again, as a council, as a policy-making body, by 2030, I probably won't be on the council anymore. But those who are, and the mayor at that time, will have to make sure that they continue these action steps to get to them. Require EV charging connectivity in new residential developments, again, by 2030. Update amenities at Avondale's Park and Ride, and electrify buses and transit vehicles. So some of our vehicles in the city, specifically the fleet for the city, we have electric vehicles. Again, not just about words, it's about action. And over time, just like some of you who have solar panels up on your roofs in your home, that long-term savings is the goal. The same too with the city in regards to decision making. So I'm going to point out, you'll see that every slide moving forward with all these goals has a little blue box that says highlight. This is again the action. This is what has happened since these goals have been implemented. So the city of Avondale has installed at this point 25 charging stations, purchased 3 electric vehicles as of September 2022. And if you are looking, because you have a electric vehicle to charge, you can log on to www.plugshare.com to look for a charging station near you. Oh, wow, okay, let me speed through this. I didn't realize I was behind the 8 ball there, but I can talk forever, I'm sure you know. All right, second goal, I'll just go to the goal and highlight. All right, second goal, reduce urban heat island effect to protect the community against extreme heat. So one of the things that the city has done, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but we have what are called cooling stations. If you have individuals in the community who are suffering from the heat, need to get out of the heat, more importantly, need to drink water and get the fluids, there are certain stations that we have set up in the city, in our libraries. We have a great resource center called the Arizona Complete House Resource Center at the Felix Drive and Riley, I believe is the cross streets. So at that resource center, there is a cooling center where again, you can take some refuge outside of the heat, get something to drink, and we have regional partnerships that have helped with that. The other goal, ensure reliable, sustainable, long-term water supply. You heard a lot about water. One of the things that we're discussing right now as a policy-making body is new developments that come to town, right? Like these large developments where you live, Rancho Santa Fe, you got Garden Lakes, Alomar down south, and more will come. What do we do with the residents that are buying homes there? Do we force the HOA to mandate that front yards are only to be desert landscaping, or only a portion to be grass? Is it going to be artificial grass? Again, those decisions have to be made. So as we continue on through this, Crystal Gardens wetlands, if you're not familiar with Crystal Gardens, 107th Avenue north of McDowell, it is awesome experience to learn more about the wetlands that occur there in regards to the ecosystem that exists. So it's a series of 21 lakes spanning 72 acres that use a natural process to cost effectively clean water from the canal before it's stored underground. So again, I'm gonna keep jumping quickly. Achieve 90% renewable energy citywide by 2050. Avondale receives power from APS and SRP, and both are committed to a clean energy future. So working with community partnerships, again, organizations that are in the same mindset in terms of achieving the same goal. Preserve and revitalize, natural systems that achieve a level of air quality that is healthy for humans and the environment. Reduce annual amount of residential waste and landfill by 90%, and we'll have some information about that here in just a second. So I will steal the thunder on that. And then there's two more, but I'll just read this last one. All people living in Avondale will have enough to eat and have access to healthy, affordable, local, and culturally appropriated food. We have a business in Avondale. If you're not familiar with them, please do. They're called Coldwater Bakery in Avondale on Western. It is a family-owned business. It's a co-op. Several different individuals who have come together to form the business. Everything that they make there, literally they make there. Behind it, they have their own garden where they farm their own vegetables and things of that nature as part of their meals that they provide and prepare and serve. In regards to, they make their own breads. Something that if you are looking for a nice little spot, very quaint. I mean, it's almost right out of a movie when you go inside of there. But again, everything there is fresh, everything is grown there. And so Coldwater Coffee House and Bakery, if you're not familiar, please, if I can plug them, please visit them, check them out online, learn more about them. But again, in regard to strategies, it's great to have a plan, but you also have to have those in terms of policymakers who are willing to drive the plan from not only action, but measuring the data, making sure that what you're doing is effective, continuing with that is, and eliminate that is not. So I will stop, give my time over. Thank you so much for being here. My class, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the activities too.
Mr. Pineda, so you can see there's a lot of things to consider when we're talking about sustainability in our efforts. Our next speaker is going to be Mr. Frank Sanchez from Acton Enviro. Do we know if we have the All right, hold on one minute. You share, and then let me go in. Thank you all for your kind patience with this. All right, so I would like to introduce Mr. Frank Sanchez, Acton Enviro Certified Hazardous Materials Manager. Thank you for coming to us straight today. You can advance. Thank you.
All right.
Did a presentation to a group of hazardous professionals down in Tucson, Arizona, a few months ago. But I think it's kind of appropriate because it basically deals with one of our new hazardous materials problems, and that's lithium battery management. I think everyone has lithium battery powder in their pocket because you have a cell phone. So everyone has lithium batteries. I don't know if you've seen on TV, there's been a lot of lithium, a lot of EVs that have caught on fire because of lithium battery. It's called thermal runaway reaction. So again, my job basically is to get rid of hazardous materials at the end of life. So I support a lot of manufacturing facilities, laboratories, schools when it comes to getting rid of their hazardous materials and chemicals. I've been doing this for about 38 years now, so I've been in the business quite a while. I am a product of the community college system out of Los Angeles. My daughter attended this round, she graduated here with a degree. So again, I believe in the system. I think most of your students, so that's a different group I'm used to speaking to. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me and I'll try to answer them. So, I'm a certified hazardous materials manager since I've been in this for a long time. I went through government certification, took some tests, demonstrated my experience and able to get that certification. Lithium battery types. The ones we're most commonly that we see in the industry is lithium ion. That's what you have in your cell phones, we have in your laptop computers, and also what you see in the electric vehicles. Okay, so they're everywhere. Electric bicycles, power banks. You see the small they call them solar generators. You'll see lithium ion batteries in those. Lithium metal batteries, other type you'll see, they're typically one-time use. You'll see those in small batteries that you buy at the hardware stores. They last longer than alkaline batteries. They have more power. They're better for certain types of equipment that you might use. And also the small button type batteries that you see in hearing aids and other devices. Lithium battery types, cells versus batteries. Okay, a cell basically is a single item, single cell. You'll see those small, if you have like a AA battery, AAA battery, that is considered a cell. A battery is a group of those grouped together. So if you look basically like an automobile battery, it is a large group of cells. It's a large battery. A power tools, again, you look at the unit that's in the picture, it's a group of batteries inside that casing. So that's what's considered a battery. Oh, I got something else popped up here.
I'll take this one.
Yeah.
On that note, we also we contract the city of Avondale. We take care of your household hazardous waste collections. So when the city does collect hazardous materials, we actually provide the service to dispose of materials we collect. I think it might like get cut off. I think it did. Anyway. No.
You took my time.
On that note, so when we do those hazardous waste collection days, 85% we collect and recycle. The majority of we collect of these events is paint, mostly latex paint, water-based paints. Those can be 100% recycled. So we send that off for recycling. All the batteries we're collecting, we have lithium ion, we have lithium primary, alkaline batteries, lead acid batteries. We collect all those materials too. Those will be recycled. I don't know if you remember or not, but lithium batteries now, there is a recycling plant in Mesa, Arizona, where lithium batteries, they do a really good job of recycling the batteries. It's really interesting process that they do. But again, they take everything from the small batteries up to large scale, like automotive batteries.
Is there like a solution for to drop that stuff?
The cities will typically have these household collection days, either once or twice a year. I know
I
Avondale
think I
does it twice.
missed, because my husband's really anal about that stuff, and we have like stuff we need to, but I think we missed it because I haven't seen it.
Go on the city's website, and then if you're Avondale, Goody residents, they both have programs.
Yeah.
And again, they have in multiple times, yes.
Do you have like a tangible list that we can have, so we know what to, what could be reused like that?
I think if you go to the city's website, they have a list that's on there. Anything that you might consider hazardous materials, whether it is anything from a really bad, whole chemical to something you maybe use it for cleaners your home, we can accept and take. And that, again, those can be reprocessed. And even now, we went to a new technology for disposal. It's called waste to energy. So some of the things that really aren't really hazardous waste, but are still like soaps and waxes and things like that, they have a little BTU value. And there's companies that can take that and blend it together, and they can make a fuel out of it. And they can basically fuel like cement kilns for drying cement out. They can use it for generating electricity, generating steam. So there's a lot of beneficial use you can have now for household hazardous waste that we didn't have available to us in the past. So again, that's where we get the 85% recycle rate on a lot of that material.
Would it be a compost unit, like?
No, it's actually not a compost unit. It's actually they mix together things like soaps and waxes. They'll take again off-spec wood, like would chip up old pallets because they basically have materials in there you don't want to go into the landfill. There's pesticides and preservatives in there. They'll chip that together, make a slurry out of it, and then it gets fed into the cement, to the kilns, cement kilns, to dry cement out. So there's a lot of technologies there, a lot of the toxic materials that you have, like pesticides, any kind of heavy metal bearing materials, typically get incinerated. The incinerators basically have systems on it to scrub the air, and then also we'll take the slag that's left over and treat that, stabilize it so the metals don't escape from the material. So there's a lot of things that go on. That's straight up disposal. That's not recycling.
So you said that a year and a half ago with that program,
Yes.
does Phoenix?
Phoenix also has a program too, and Phoenix is a learning program. So if you call Gannett City's website and call them, they come to different areas at parts of times of the year and collect your material.
Oh.
Okay.
So what do we do with our batteries, like we're at home? Because my husband's the same way, and I am too. So
What you want to
what
do,
do you
what you want to do for proper storage of batteries is when you have any batteries, especially lithium batteries, you want to basically, any connectors, you want to tape them and use clear tape on them. The reason we ask to use clear tape is when it gets to the recycler, they can see any markings on the battery, they can see the chemistry of the battery, they can see the voltage of the battery, so they can go ahead and process it appropriately. So you would want to tape the connectors. If you have any larger batteries, like power tool batteries that maybe aren't lithium, but you have like the 9-volt, 18-volt batteries, same thing, put some clear tape over those connectors so you don't have short circuits, so you don't have a battery fire.
So put tape on the batteries, put them in our recycle bin?
No, you would turn those into a household collection event.
Oh.
Yeah, that's where they would go for proper recycling. Yeah, because they won't pull them out of the bins. Right now, people realize too that a lot of the cities have suspended the recycling programs. There's no value in the materials. It's too hard to segregate the materials at the transfer stations. So they're not really doing too good a job of recycling, unfortunately. They should do a lot better, but it's just isn't for them to make financial sense right now. But anyway, it has material we can recycle. We go and take care of that. There's a cost to it, but again, there's also a safety aspect to it because they don't want the material going to a trash truck, getting compacted and starting a trash fire instead of a trash truck. Kind of how I got involved in this business. The first place I responded to a lot of those trash fires because they were people were throwing their pool chemicals in trash trucks, mix them together, they get compacted, and then all the oils and things from your house, it's like cooking them up. That material with pool chemicals creates fires. It causes a reaction. So we see multiple of those fires, and that's how I kind of got into the business. So again, that's how we kind of figured that out, and it's not a good idea to do that. We've had chemical reactions in trash where sanitation workers have been exposed from a vapor release. So again, this is why the household programs have become important because of those issues. Lithium, we go back to lithium batteries. We got out of that. But the biggest problem with lithium batteries is the fire. And the issue you have there is, it's called thermal runaway. It's when you have a short circuit in a battery, whether it's intentional or unintentional. You have a short circuit, the battery, the one cell starts to react, it heats up, it catches on fire, it releases hydrogen gas, and that fuels more fire, and then the heat starts building up and it burns through the whole cell. So typically a car fire, it's almost impossible to put out because you can't really put water on it because it's in a sealed container under the vehicle. So you can't get access to it. So when you see car fires, right now the technology is to let it burn. And even that's not 100% safe because there may be further reactions that occur after car fire has been put out. So you gotta be real careful. So again, fire departments are technology now that they can go ahead and let the fire burn out. They'll let the car sit, they'll monitor it, they'll take a heat gun to it, and they'll make sure check for hot spots, make sure the hot spots are gone. And once that's clear, they can move the car off to a salvage yard, and then we'll sit. They've had cars before that have caught on fire, went out, they picked the car up onto a tow truck, and the car's very excited, burned the tow truck down. So again, this is, and lithium batteries are they hold a lot of energy. That's what they're designed for. They're really great for what they do. But on the backside of it, when they go awry, they go bad. So again, this is something that we deal with. And again, as it has been managed, part of my presentation was that when we have that incident, when those incidents happen, in order for us to ship it to disposal, we've got to disassemble those batteries into the smaller cells and then pack that in a certain way so that if they do react again, they don't catch the whole shipment on fire. So there's very specific guidelines that we follow that are set by the federal DOT and by the EPA to how to pack these materials and ship down the road for disposal. There's also along those lines, sometimes the manufacturer will find a defect, like in any products that get manufactured, they'll be recalled batteries. We have to handle those batteries the same way that we have to assume that they're ready to ignite. So we've got to pack them in a certain way so we can get them safely down the road to the recycler to be disassembled and recycled. So there's a lot to it, that's just not simply just throw it in a box and ship it down the road. And then we work at doing that. As again, as my business, that's kind of what I'm involved with doing, is safely managing hazmat dump. So you get transport to disposal, proper disposal, without having it being released in the environment. And also not reacting, having an incident on the highway when it's being shipped to disposal. People kind of don't understand our business. I always tell people, what I am basically is a high-tech trash man. So what I'm dealing with is something that's not so simple as throwing into a box and shipped down the road. It has to be properly packaged, has to be isolated and segregated, and then we ship it to disposal. And then on top of that, there are certain disposals, so that's what they specialize in. I mentioned the lithium battery recycling. That's what they do, lithium batteries. They have people that are trained to deal with that. They do have a thermal reaction, they know how to deal with that thermal reaction, and isolate it, and process that battery for disposal. We got people that deal with corrosive materials and oxidizers. There are chemists that deal with that material, and the material gets for disposal there. They know how to treat it, to neutralize it, and then make it safe to release to the environment or to landfill. And again, fuel blenders, things like old gasoline, paint thinners, old paint that's flammable, automotive finishes are all flammable materials. Those go to their facility and they get managed a certain way for disposal also. So there's a lot more to it than just basically throwing the trucks and right. I really get frustrated when I get customers call me that are basically chemical engineers and say, can you pick up my drum, all my stuff? And I, well, what is your stuff? It's the stuff we get rid of. I said, I need to understand what it is so I know how to get rid of it. I just can't ship it down the road, you know. But that does happen. Even though that they're chemical engineers and they know chemistry, they don't understand the process of managing hazardous waste disposal. Some of the most dangerous places I go into are where these guys work, like women. You know, they just don't understand the incompatibilities of materials. They understand what they're doing with it to make the formulations they're dealing with. We're doing the research we're doing with, but the disposal part and the segregation and safety is not something they specialize.
So I know, we all know there's lots of electric cars and vehicles, and we're pushing towards that, and that's wonderful, but so what happens when a car's battery dies, like an electric car's battery dies? Do they go to the dealer? Do you know how the dealers?
The dealer is pulling the battery packs out. So pull the battery pack out of the vehicle and then replace it with a new battery, and then that battery itself is what we're excited for recycling. So again, this is all really new technology. Like the vehicles came out before the technology for disposal really kind of was in place. So and it's the same thing we just talked about earlier. The chargers, right? The vehicles were out before the charging infrastructure was in place to charge the vehicles. So it's a very difficult problem that was created, kind of the cart before the horse. So
How exactly are like lithium batteries recycled?
interesting question. It's an interesting process. So the facility that takes the batteries basically breaks them down into the smallest cells. They can either small batteries or cells. And then that in turn gets fed into a conveyor belt that drops the battery into water. Again, because salt water actually neutralizes the chemistry in lithium battery. All right, so they start to neutralize the chemistry. Then when it goes through the process, there's a shredder underwater, shreds the battery. The battery then goes through the process through the water. And then any of the foil, the paper, any of that type of material basically floats on top of the water. The battery goes through more processing and it's broken in down to the metal components, the metal sinks, the casing, and then it goes through a filter press. Like any water treatment system, that solid that breaks out the lithium chemistry, which is mostly cobalt and lithium chemistry, goes through a filter press and it gets separated from the water, filtered and separated, and then what they call black mass, which is a cobalt and lithium containing material. That is the base material to remake the batteries. So, but all of the metal gets recycled, the paper gets disposed of, and then the water gets recycled, and then it's a constant process. So again, sustainability, we talked about that. The process uses a lot of water, but that water gets recycled to make the process sustainable. So. Anything else?
Any other questions?
Is that the same with the car batteries?
The car battery is the same. You get any kind of lithium ion battery, that's what they can do. Basically shred it, and then the lithium chemistry gets recycled, recovered and recycled. Or carbon. Yeah, lead acid batteries. It's kind of a similar process, but they separate out the liquid, which you see it's an acid that contains lead, and basically it's got lead in it's extracting lead from the battery. There's lead plates. And the lead actually goes to a smelter, and then that lead gets melted down, and then it gets used for different products besides batteries.
So
people who may not know, where can any kind of batteries or specifically car batteries be recycled or taken?
There actually are battery recyclers here in town. There's mostly like metal recyclers who take the batteries, because again, there's value. They actually get paid for the lead in the batteries.
I know that you can recycle them also to like your local auto parts.
Auto park out there.
Their local store.
Yeah. Like I talked about earlier, a lot of materials don't get recycled anymore because there's no value to it. Lead acid battery are perfect.
Sure.
People get paid for it. So a lot of places will take it.
Thank you. Please help me thank Mr. Park. We're gonna be back here at 10 o'clock. You want to join us again? We have some more speakers. I'm sorry. I didn't like to. Challenges in the community related to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Amaris Mohammed.
So, okay, hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes, one quick reminder, I want to remind everyone here and online that we are recording this session. Just turn the recording back on. Thank you.
Okay, everyone can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, and can see my screen? I just want to make sure before I start blabbing. Okay, well, hello, good afternoon. Oh, I'm in New Orleans, so good afternoon, but good morning to you all, and happy America Recycles Day. As mentioned, my name is Amaris Mohammed, and I'm a program manager at IREX, and I'm delighted to join EMCC on this special day. I'm here to share with Estrella Mountain faculty how to get involved and build a more sustainable campus and larger community with your students through the Global Solutions program. And Global Solutions is a virtual exchange that pairs students and faculty with their peers in the Middle East and North Africa region to discuss challenges in their community related to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Faculty help prepare students to engage critically and empathetically with the world. Students develop innovative, sustainable solutions together. And during this presentation, I'll break down these two no-cost virtual and hybrid programs for passionate educators as yourself. So I hope that my screen is moving, right?
We see it.
Okay, great. Okay. So the two different virtual exchange programs offered within Global Solutions are the Global Solutions Sustainability Challenge, which is our project-based virtual exchange, and the Global Solutions Conversations, which is our dialogue-based virtual exchange. For those of you who do not know, IREX stands for the International Research and Exchanges Board. We're a nonprofit with partners in more than 100 countries and 4 areas, including empowering youth, cultivating leaders, strengthening institutions, and extending access to quality education and information. One of IREX's programs is Global Solutions, which is supported by the J. Christopher Stevens Virtual Exchange Initiative, a U.S. Department of State's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs program administered by the Aspen Institute. And IREX and the Global Solutions program is one of many awardees of the Stevens Initiative and a larger community of virtual exchange programs. So considering this, students and faculty that complete the program are offered benefits that come with being alumni of both virtual and in-person exchange programs with the State Department. So before I dive into the details of the program and offer a bit of context, I want to quickly share that our definition of virtual exchange is the use of technology to bridge or connect people across countries and cultures that supports the development of knowledge, skills, and attitudes. And I just want to say this because post-COVID, when the entire world went virtual and as higher institutions have sought to internationalize their curriculum, we just want to emphasize that we don't see virtual exchange as a substitute for study abroad. Some have thought that virtual exchange is merely a substitute or supplement for study abroad. However, we, along with the Stevens Initiative, which is one of the largest funders and implementers of virtual exchange, see virtual exchange as having its own entity and space at institutions alongside study abroad. So just wanted to quickly clarify that. And then Global Solutions was created to provide access to college students to international exchange opportunities who might not otherwise be able to participate in study abroad programs due to financial implications, time, and other external factors. And this program provides opportunities for students to engage in cross-cultural experiences while developing workforce readiness skills, all while not having to leave their home institution physically. Global Solutions not only provides access, but the curriculum is designed to improve global citizenship for students by demonstrating that one's responsibility and humanity transcends beyond borders. The program strengthens problem-solving skills and develops cross-cultural collaboration and competency while developing those job readiness skills. The exposing of students to real-world applications and equipping faculty with skills in teaching global citizenship and interdisciplinary project-based learning also helps with increasing the number of students qualified for the workforce who have a strong mutual understanding of other cultures. So first, I'll share about the challenge program, and I hope that this does not confuse you, because I don't know how many times we try to like change up how we articulate this. There are two programs, so I'm going to share about Challenge first. And essentially, Challenge is a virtual binational business competition where binational teams of students compete to design the most sustainable business concept for a real need in their local communities based on a UN SDG framework. So faculty will guide students through a design thinking process. Each week in the IREX provided curriculum, students will focus on a different element of design thinking. After a student welcome webinar that we put together for students that are participating in the program, they'll have time during the second week to dedicate to empathizing in their communities, to understanding what the real need is. Then in week 3, they will decide what the problem they want to focus on and solve is. In week 4 and 5, they will brainstorm a creative solution. Then by week 6, they'll design a prototype of their idea and then test that prototype in week 7. Then finally, in week 8, teams will submit a business concept and video to IREX. And then IREX, through a selection committee, then scores these submissions, and the top 5 teams are then invited to give their pitch live to a panel at the Virtual Global Business Expo. And this panel consists of judges comprised of experts in business development and entrepreneurship. And the panel of judges then selects the top 3 teams who are awarded with a small grant between $1,000 to $2,000 to further develop their concept. And this culminating event is very high energy, and it involves guests from Stevens Initiative, consulates, embassies, as well as deans and administrators from institutions across the US, Iraq, and Jordan. And it's an excellent professional development opportunity where students who are pitching at the event develop public speaking and communication skills as well. And here's a little photo from one of our expos in a previous cohort. The final element, oh, sorry, I think I just skipped over a slide. Okay, so here's a very short list of solutions created by students with many of the business concepts or prototypes aimed at solving environmental issues, including climate action, resource utilization, waste and water usage, and the list goes on and on and on. And here I'll just mention that the challenge program does take a lot of work, and we don't like to, undermine anyone's time and effort. So I just want to be very transparent that it takes a little bit more work than the conversations program, since it is project-based. So facilitators who are faculty members can expect up to 3 hours of work each week, where 1 to 1.5 hours a week are spent in either a country team meeting, in person or virtual, or a binational team meeting. And then the other 1 to 1.5 hours, students are essentially completing homework assignments, such as doing interviews in the community, desk research on the internet, creating a SWOT analysis, and some other activities as well. And the challenge, again, is a lot of work. And this is why students have this opportunity to really develop these skills that I've mentioned. And the expectation is that they're, fully engaged so that they get the most out of this experience. Here's a photo of students in action using Slack to submit their business concept. And this is a photo of one of our Jordan teams in action meeting with their binational team in the US. I just want to share some photos here as well. And now I'm going to go into explaining about our virtual exchange program, the other one, which is Global Solutions Conversations. And this is very, very different experience as it's not project-based and the focus is dialogue. So essentially, the Conversations program is a 6-week virtual exchange dialogue where students meet for 6 sessions about culture and global issues around the UN SDGs. Students are not collaborating with their binational team necessarily to develop a business concept or participate in an expo. It's simply focused on dialogue, and students are able to think about the SDG that they're the most passionate about and bring that to the conversation. And this, really allows for more flexibility, both for faculty and students. Here on this bottom right corner, you can see an overview of the 6 sessions or 6 dialogues that you as a facilitator will be able to guide your team through. And each session builds upon the previous session, and it also follows the design thinking process as well. So during session 1 to 6, those are facilitated by IREX to bring all the students from all the binational teams together to launch and kick off the program. And then again at the end to celebrate together and close the program out. And these events are high energy as well, like the expo, and a great way for students to feel a part of a larger community. Then sessions 2 to 5 are focused on you as a facilitator, co-facilitating with your partner in Iraq or Jordan to lead separate binational team meetings together. And each week there'll be a set of questions that you'll ask your students to, spark that conversation. And just want to note too that as a facilitator, you'll have flexibility on when to hold these binational calls. You'll just need to coordinate with your partner in Iraq or Jordan to decide on what best day and time works for you. And the program has 1 week built in for holidays, school breaks, or just if you need, to take a little bit of pause. And that's why this curriculum is set up to be very flexible. And here's a picture of a virtual exchange in action. There's many, many pictures of virtual exchange in action and what it looks like for both the conversation and challenge programs. And I just want to highlight a quote from a student at Beaufort County Community College that said, "My involvement with the Global Solutions gave me the ability to participate in a group effort that opened not only borders, but our perceptions of other cultures. And the skills I gained through the challenge helped me secure a job within a sustainable business. And the ability to work alone or in a team has been an invaluable lesson learned from the challenge." Can I do a quick time check? Am I okay? Maybe I'll get a thumbs up. Am I okay on time?
Yes, you still have about 7 or 8 minutes.
Okay, great. Okay. So I just want to briefly recap because it's a lot of information. And again, I don't want it to be, confusing. So in terms of similarities, both of the programs are faculty-led virtual exchanges that engage students in the US who are paired with students in MENA to discuss sustainability in your community. And they both expand access for faculty and students to professional network and alumni opportunities. Sorry, just moved my screen. Opportunities with the State Department. Challenge and Conversations provide a structure through a guided curriculum and ongoing support from the IREX team, as well as benefits including Youth Essential Skill badges for students and a monetary stipend for faculty, which I'll share here in the next slide. In terms of distinctions, Challenge, again, is focused on project-based learning. It is an 8-week program that offers participating faculty a $350 stipend and is designed to model the modern workplace where students use Slack and Zoom to not only collaborate on their sustainable business concept, but also learn about each other's cultures. And the Challenge is a hybrid mix of both synchronous and asynchronous exchange. Conversations, on the other hand, focuses on dialogue, as I've mentioned, and is our lighter touch program that offers a shorter timeline of 6 weeks and a $200 stipend to faculty. And Conversations is primarily synchronous with a few short asynchronous activities where students share about the issue in their community they are passionate about and its relation to the SDGs through conversations and Padlet. So if by now, if you're a little bit interested or very interested and asking, how can I actually implement either the challenge or conversations? There are many ways the programs can and have been implemented at institutions. Most faculty implement the program within an existing course. Others include it as a standalone course in itself. Others include it with an honors club or an extracurricular club across disciplines. It's really up to each faculty member and the institution on how they will implement these programs and what incentives or credit they will provide for participation. As I've mentioned, the programs are designed to be very flexible to the needs of the faculty and institution. And one note is that while we encourage, everyone to apply to any program, faculty across departments usually participate in Challenge, but it fits very well with business, entrepreneurship, and marketing courses. Conversation program fits well with any department or course, really because it's open and more focused on dialogue. And the courses shown here are the names of courses our faculty in the past couple cohorts have said that they've implemented either the Challenge or Conversations program into. So just to get a more practical, example of how this can be implemented. And then again, we're currently recruiting faculty to apply for the spring 2024 cohort, which is our milestone cohort, marking 10 successful cohorts of Global Solutions. So all selected faculty, after applying, they'll be notified during the week of December 4th. Then the following week, we'll invite faculty serving as facilitators to a welcome webinar before kicking off training and student registration after the new year. The Challenge program will take place from February 4th to April 6th, and the Conversation program will take place from February 12th to April 3rd. And for faculty participating in Challenge and selected as the top teams to present at the Virtual Business Expo, we'll also invite you to hold the 29th of April for the Virtual Global Business Expo event. And again, I'll just kind of leave this here on your screen because it has the little QR code if you want to pull out your phone and be able to you take a picture or whatever, it pops up on your phone. This will lead you to our website, which talks a little bit more about the program, as well as leads you to thank you. I see the phones coming up, great. So leads you to the program information as well as the application, which again is due on November 26th. And if you weren't able to capture that here, I have the same QR code. And I just want to thank everyone for listening. If you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out directly to me or someone on the team at globalsolutions@irex.org. And again, you can scan the barcode to access more details about both Conversations and Challenge program and the applications. So thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Mark. Right, thank you so much. Anybody interested? Sounds really cool, doesn't it?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, gonna get ready for our next speakers. We have just a couple minutes while we're waiting for the presentation to get here. I didn't see it today. We had a thumb drive, but the thumb drive doesn't want to play nice right now. So we're going by old school emails. Oh, here it is. Let's drop this. Here we go. All right, let me go in and share. Share screen. There it is. All right, I want to introduce Ms. Bridget Conlon. She is with Swire Coca-Cola, and she's going to talk to us about sustainability and responsibility and initiatives that Swire Coca-Cola as a local bottler and distributor for Coca-Cola and other beverages in Arizona, what they're doing. So she's gonna give us a brief overview about the company, their sustainability efforts and commitments, and discuss why everyone should embrace recycling and discuss the challenges in doing so. So please welcome Ms. Bridget Conlon.
Thank you again. So Swire Coca-Cola, I'll get into why are we different than Coca-Cola, the brand that you typically know, obviously most recognized brand in the world, but we are your local bottler and distributor for that. So I have Carson who's here with me. He's from our team here in Tempe. And I just want to say also, you know, I personally went to a four-year college first out of high school. That was not a fit. I ended up going to my local community college. It was an amazing experience. I went on to get my master's, so I did eventually join a four-year institution, got my master's. I convinced my sister to come to a community college. She thought she wanted to be a nurse, got into woodworking. Now she's a contractor. So I just want to say also, community colleges are an amazing space, and we're really happy to partner with all the community colleges here. So thanks everyone for being here. So just a quick, so this is the first kind of just overview of the bottling history of Coca-Cola in Arizona. So you can see all the way back to early 1900s, Coca-Cola has been in Arizona. And so part of why Swire Coca-Cola exists. So these are all historical, these are now all going to be under what these previous were. These are now under Swire Coca-Cola. So about 10 years ago, Coca-Cola, the mothership Coca-Cola, decided that they no longer wanted to be in the business of doing that bottling and distribution themselves. So they started asking for other companies to come in and take that piece over. So we work very closely with them. Obviously, we get all of the secret ingredients. We don't know the recipe, so I can't give you that information. But so we are the only bottler and distributor for Coke and other products in Arizona. So if you're enjoying a Coca-Cola product, and you'll see some of the other things in our portfolio, those are because of Swire Coca-Cola and our team here. So we have over 800 different beverages. So again, not all of these are bottled by us. Some of these are contracts that we have with these other drinks and beverages. So you can think of a good example is Dr. Pepper. So Keurig Dr. Pepper is their own company, but then they can work with us to do bottling and distribution. And so it's fun to walk through. Dr. Pepper is my drink of choice. You can tell when we're bottling Dr. Pepper, it smells amazing in the facility. And so this is Swire Coca-Cola. We're across 13 states in total. I cover our South region, so that's New Mexico and Arizona. And then just the different colors are based on our regions, and we continue to grow. So this has been a quick growth in the last couple of years. It was only 2018 that we actually acquired the remainder of bottling operations in Arizona. So we're quickly growing, but as you can see, we have a lot of production in the western part of the state. And then here's some Arizona specifics. So where you see the bottle, again, Tempe is an actual bottling facility. We have amazing tours. We would love for anyone who's interested. I have cards where you can reach out to us. We would love to give a tour someday just so you can see really how much goes into and the incredible advancements in technology and other ways that we use that facility is pretty impressive. And we really are proud of all of the employees that we have. We have incredible employees. And so I'll go into it a little bit. Let's see if it's one of my next slides. But likewise, Swire Coca-Cola, we have everything. I'm public relations and government affairs. Carson is taking care of some of our customers. We have accounting, we have communications, really any type of career. We have those at Swire Coca-Cola. So we're also always happy to talk to anyone if you're interested in learning more about some of our jobs that we have there. And as mentioned, again, just over 400 different roles that we could have that we'd love to see some faces from this room fill. One thing, and this ties into our sustainability piece, is really focusing, we're really big on our volunteerism. So next year, we will be asking every employee across all 13 states to complete 4 hours of paid volunteer time. So we are paying for our employees to go out into the community. By 2025, we're bumping that up to 8 hours. So that's really easy for someone like me to do. And we're looking for partners because maybe my guy who's driving the truck all day, he's not in a job where that's just going to be a really natural fit. And so we're looking for partners. So likewise, this is a pitch to anyone. If you have nonprofits or other ways that we can partner with the community college, we're always looking for opportunities to volunteer. And a really big way that we do that is moving into our planet piece, into our sustainability piece. We love to volunteer alongside our partners. And so here's just a quick overview of when I'm considering how do I partner with our community, you kind of break it into people and planet. And of course, today I'll focus a little bit more on the planet piece of these focus areas. You can just see again, the high level of what we're looking to do and the impacts that we like to make in the communities that we serve. So this is the quick overview. Again, I'll dive deeper into the planet, but if you're interested in some of those people, so part of why community college fits so well is we love to support programs that are helping people move to the next step. So whether that's college, career readiness, whatever your next step is in life, and we truly need people to walk every different path, we want to support those nonprofits and programs that are helping people do that. And then focusing more on the planet piece. So as you saw, Tempe, we have over 36 million cases come from our Tempe facility alone. That's a lot of product. For things to go from getting into a can, into a bottle, onto your shelf, and then to a recycling endpoint, there's a lot of different steps and a lot of opportunities for waste. And so we're always looking for opportunities to divert anything that could go into a landfill and saying, how can we get innovative? So sometimes that's recycling our own products and materials that we're using, and sometimes it's partnering again with other folks. But so when it comes to planet, these are going to be the main ones that we talk about. And you see maybe other speakers, you've heard them talk about the circularity. So that again means that I want, as soon as I put a can out, I want that can to come back to me. But there's a lot of pieces and partnerships that we need in order for that full circular economy to happen within recycling. And here are just some examples of community partnerships. Not all of these are going to be planet focused, and this is not a comprehensive list. But again, you see, we love to partner with Keep Phoenix Beautiful, Tucson. You have a lot of the Keep Beautiful groups. Those are awesome volunteer opportunities. And we know that, again, Swire Coca-Cola, we are a company, we are a business, and there's only so much we can do. So we really rely on incredible community partners that we can support financially or with our own volunteerism to help them accomplish their missions. And then here, one of these gentlemen is our director of sustainability. So we have an entire team that is dedicated to sustainability. So it's not something that we hope to do. It's not something that we say we're interested in. Our company continues to invest and build the qualifications. And so I would say for anyone in this room, again, Swire Coca-Cola is the best place to work. But when you're thinking about recycling and sustainability, every company, whether or not they are on this page yet or not, is going to have to start thinking about recycling and sustainability issues. So it's a really great time to jump into that field if you're interested. There's a lot to learn, and it's ever changing in what we are learning about. This one is first on my list because it's my favorite way that we partner with one of our groups. So we have both Arizona Wildlife Support and Wild at Heart. So we got connected with them. They had previously, there are both burrowing owls. So there are owls that burrow in the ground. They do not make their own burrows. They rely on other animals' burrows that they have left, and then they go down. And then you also have, as you can see, the owl. So that's at the top of a huge barn. So it was brought to our attention, there was issues where these owls, they were moving them from areas that they are endangered. But it turns out if you just move an owl, they're very smart and they go right back to where they started. So these groups they had to get innovative on how do we make sure that these owls know that they can stay in our safe places, and how do we support them to continue their population in a safe and manageable way. So previously they were using Home Depot 5-gallon buckets. So they were burrowing owls, trying to bury 5-gallon buckets and hoping that that was going to do the trick. Luckily, some research came out of an institution in New Mexico that said the more space, the better. And it's 1 owl per each of these. But so we ended up donating our syrup barrels. So for the burrowing owls, they're able to bury those in the ground. They are great. We've been working with a lot of farms and ranches. Farms and ranches have been able to reduce their pesticide and chemical use because owls can kill up to 3,000 to 5,000 critters every single night. So all of the things that they need to use to protect their crops, owls can do that. So it's an incredible relationship where, again, you're protecting the planet, giving a safe space. And all of these different organizations actually just met with both of them because we're going into some owl seasons, and they wouldn't be able to do this without the syrup barrels. So they've been wildly successful. The syrup barrels, they are plastic. Sometimes, it's like, plastic isn't good, how do we reuse it? And in this case, plastic is what allows them, if a tractor goes over and breaks it, it's very easy to mend. So this is one of those uses where typically when we're diverting from a landfill, we're often just using that ourselves and recycling. But this is a great example, and I was actually just at an American Beverage Association, so you had every kind of distributor, every bottler. Again, we're not the only Coca-Cola bottler. And I was sharing this story to say, how do we do this in other territories? It might not be owls, it might be another creature, but what are other materials that we can use to prop up nonprofits? So this is just a great story of how we're able to partner with the community and reuse some of those materials that are in our facilities. And then this is a pitch. So I know Carson is working on some scholarship opportunities that we can come and partner with, and we're figuring out how will those be channeled? Are they specific to program? But we do right now have a lot of great examples of our work with ASU. So we've been working with a professor at ASU who has been bringing us students, and we let those students come into our Tempe facility, and they looked at our water use and said, how can we improve water use, recapture, or diverting, again, anything from being wasted. So that was an incredible opportunity for students to come in. We likewise are working with a group of students at ASU who are designing a sustainability course. So they are coming in, figuring out, number one, what's going on at Swire Coca-Cola? What do people who work there need to know? Because again, recycling only works if people know about it. And that's the same thing with sustainability initiatives. It's only so good. It sounds great. Everyone would nod their head and say, yes, I want to be more sustainable. But what does that mean? So we're doing more to make sure that our employees are able to take courses, and we want our employees to raise their hand throughout the process. Swire Coca-Cola is a huge company, so there are many opportunities that we don't see everything. So we're constantly asking both outside folks from ASU or otherwise, and our own employees to raise their hand and figure out how can we become more sustainable and really focus on that recycling piece. So we are really proud of that, and I would love to have a story similarly with this community college and other students to say we were able to work together and you were able to help us find some ways to be more sustainable. So just some high level, again, you've seen the climate protection, sustainable packaging and recovery, and water stewardship. So those are the three focuses. So these are our own promises. So again, it's very important. And sometimes companies, you'll see this, especially on sustainability. Sometimes you don't always meet your goals. Swire Coca-Cola has been doing an incredible job meeting these goals. Most of these are by 2030, and for some of them, we're on track to meet those sooner. But you think about each of those, you saw that map, we're across 13 states. What works in our Tempe facility is not going to be the same thing that's going to work in Oregon. It's awesome here, and we can throw some solar panels, but that's not going to work in every single climate. So every single place requires us to be innovative and requires us to be specific to a location. So, and that's true for really any policy. If you can't solve something with one sentence, one initiative, you have to have a desire to make your end goal and have change, and then work your way back from that. So again, we're really having a great time figuring out how across all 13 states are we able to meet these goals. And we're doing a great job, especially here in Arizona. And so when we're thinking about recycling specifically, so the Sprite bottle, does anyone know why the Sprite bottle is different than other Sprite bottles you've seen? Did you notice, or did you just say, I love that beverage, it's so great? Good, that's smart too. Sprite used to be in a green bottle. So if you remember, that was part of the whole marketing, is it's green. Green ends up being difficult and it clogs up recycling systems. So typically, and it can depend on how advanced a recycling system is. So every municipality is going to have different ways that they address recycling, but green bottles tend to be really difficult and require someone to stop an entire belt going through and pick the green out. So just simple things like switching to a clear bottle allows, again, that circularity, allows us to much more quickly and efficiently with our community partners send that out and get it back. Likewise, you have the Dasani. So they launched a few years ago the 100% recycled bottle. So from 100% recycled materials and 100% recyclable. Coca-Cola has launched now in Canada and some states in the Northwest. Some other recyclable bottles for Coca-Cola and our own products. So the goal is by 2030, that again, for all Coca-Cola products, we would like every bottle to be 100% recycled and 100% recyclable. So we'd like to stop introducing new plastics and just continue to reuse. But how do you do that? So I don't know, everyone's probably from a diverse area. I lived somewhere in New Mexico where we didn't even have trash pickup. So I would have to take my trash to a dumpster. The closest place to go recycle was 2 hours away. So people are not recycling. So part of the problem is you have companies making huge investments to make all of these products, but it only goes so far if you all, the consumer, are recycling. And the best way to do that is to make it really convenient. So we're trying to look at how do we partner with municipalities. I was looking in Arizona, there's about 30 cities and places that have recycling that is really up to date and can manage. But most places do not have quality recycling. And you can see too, sometimes I've gotten questions of, what about glass? Glass kind of gets this, glass gets to have fun. They get to be the good guy in the recycling space. Glass takes a lot of energy to produce. Glass takes a lot more packaging. If we were to put the same amount of product in glass and cans, that's going to be way more trucks. So there's a lot of things to think about when you're thinking of what is recyclable. It's not just this product or this product. You have to think of the full life of these products. And again, we are looking for innovative ways to partner because we want all of these to come back to us. We do not want them in a landfill. It is to our business benefit that people are recycling. So that's really our goal. We've seen great models. Oregon, they have, they pay a tax when you purchase, and then you can send it back and you get that credited to you. We know that consumers do well when they're incentivized monetarily to recycle. But again, something that works in Oregon, and when I say it works, it's doing well. It's not perfect. Let me tell you, no policy ever on any topic will ever be perfect. It's impossible. So for me, looking at government affairs, it's always acknowledging what are the pros and the cons of any decision you're making, acknowledging the pros outweigh the cons, but how do we continue to minimize the cons? So again, we're looking at ways to improve this. And in my regions, Arizona and New Mexico, we have a long way to go. In addition to making sure that you have avenues to recycle, there's often a lot of questions about what can I recycle? And that can be maybe because you just truly don't know. It can be because from city to city, things can be different. Again, in parts of Arizona, you might be able to recycle glass one place, in another place you can't. So anytime that we can work together to collectively make these things really easy, that would be our hope. And that's what we're looking for in the future. Part of recycling, so again, you often think, okay, how do I just recycle this material? Recycling for us is so much more about how are you a good partner in your community and making sure you're reducing your waste as much as possible. How can you make sure that, again, you're partnering and investing in the future? So recycling really should be, how are we investing for our planet, for our community? So water is a huge piece for us that we really focus on. Here's just a map of some of those water replenish projects. So we have a goal, we want to replenish 100% of the water we use. And so that's not literally me giving the city of Tempe a gallon back. It's us working with environmental partners on water stewardship projects. And for Arizona, obviously, that's really critical when you're in more dry areas to make sure that we're being really cognizant of how we're using our water and giving it back. Again, here's just a quick overview on that renewable electricity, just some of the investments that we've made. So we're really looking forward to continue to amping up that renewable electricity piece so that we're really running on that. And then here is just an example, the Verde River Replenish Project. So here's one of those ways that we were able to truly, I mean, you're looking at millions of liters replenished. So this was the Verde River. It was getting diverted sometimes to rightful land owners and sometimes not. But so we ended up partnering with two different groups and including the Forest Service. So that's of course federal government controlled, and National Forest Foundation, which is sort of their nonprofit arm, which allows them to raise money and do projects with companies. But so we were able to build different dams and gates to make sure water is going where it needs to go and it's not being wasted. So we're always looking for projects. And this is really, those were just some overview, but again, what I would like to leave you with is really that piece of how complex it is. It is not so easy, and you'll see a lot of times companies, we call it greenwashing. So I might say this thing is sustainable and I have a nice picture of a field, and then you purchase it thinking I'm doing something really great, and it didn't really mean anything. So at Swire Coca-Cola, we're really trying to walk the line for all of those statistics, talking about how we're reducing electricity, how we're bringing plastics back and recycling them. We have third parties verify any information that we put out to make sure that we really are being good stewards. And we want to be called out if we're ever missing that mark. So we're making investments all the time, and it does make a difference when you, the consumer, tell, whether you're telling us, whether you're going to Fry's and you're telling your grocery store, telling them that you care about companies and products that are being mindful does make a difference. So we're always trying to improve our portfolio. Again, for us to invest by 2030 to have 100% recycled materials in every Coke product bottle, that's gonna take a lot for us to get there, but that's a worthwhile investment. So I would love if anyone has any questions to answer questions, again, about our recycling initiatives or Swire Coca-Cola generally.
Anybody?
You guys have any sort of like internships or? So we're working on internships. We're focusing on scholarships. What I will say is it's something we need to increase. So I have my card. If you want to send me an email and say, Bridget, I need an internship, that's all the more gusto. We have, especially in Arizona, this is an awesome state for us to partner because we're not in one specific area. So I would love to talk to you about an internship.
Do it, Eileen. Give her information, you can't go wrong.
Is there like any future plans for you to establish, I don't know, like drop off boxes? Because there's a big focus delivery during buy the bottles, and you recycle them now, but for it to be sustainable to your level, wouldn't it be better for you to have like a drop off box, like a local Fry's where
So great question. So that's
either, like your company. or
yeah, so
your-
that's actually very similar to how the model in Oregon works, and they do partner with grocery stores. Part of why we need partners is I am not a recycling facility. They are expensive and unique. And so we need to make sure that we're partnering with whatever that infrastructure is locally. Now Oregon is really interesting how that recycling and bottle buyback program works is it's a co-op. So there's no government, the government, we cooperate with them, but they are not in charge of our operations. We are a couple hundred companies that we all pay into this service, and then we are able to buy those products back. So we are, again, it just depends each state. I know in New Mexico, they're gonna say, no, we want it to be government run. We're nervous about business. Arizona might be open. So we are hoping to expand that kind of thing. What's also nice, you can really get innovative with those drop-off programs. I know City of Phoenix is considering some initiatives like that. Yeah, and what's nice, so your SKU, so that's, the bar that we identify a SKU with a product. With the more innovative you get with these programs, you could literally say, these are the products you're getting. Swire Coca-Cola, we got 85% of what we're getting back from these programs is from you. And so we can use that information however we want. So yes, that is the hope, but it takes more than just us saying, here's a box, please recycle. It really is, we're trying to change minds and show people that investing in these types of programs is really important. And I know I'm starting to get the look, but part of why recycling, you did a few years ago, especially during COVID, you saw a lot of cities close their recycling components. And that is because we weren't really recycling. We were saying, good job, everyone. And then we were putting it on a boat and sending it to China. At the end of 2017, China said no more foreign countries can send us their garbage and for our sake of recycling. So again, what is really recycling? Is recycling sending it somewhere else and saying, wow, I did such a great job? Or is recycling making sure, like we're trying to do, that there's no new plastics introduced, that we're reusing things as often as we can? So these are all tough questions that we're trying to figure out.
Thank you. I'm sorry, we don't have time for any more questions. Thank
Come
you.
back to me though. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Help me thank you. I'm excited to introduce our next speaker. This is Mr. Jeff Whitlock, and he is with Phoenix Zero Waste Program. He said, I think I mentioned before that I saw this program a couple of years ago and presentation, and it just was wonderful. I love it. I just got to figure out how to get back to where I'm going.
Now you're getting really fast for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just did.
I'm trying to get here. All right, everyone. I don't know if this is shared.
My name is Jeff Whitlock. I'm a zero waste analyst for the City of Phoenix. So one of the biggest problems for municipalities is right here. So what this is a golf course in
1950s, this was a landfill, 50s through the 70s. So what we did was we kind of converted it into a landfill. So the landfill was converted into a golf course. Sorry, I'm all messed up now. But so what we did is underneath, 10 feet underneath the ground there is our old landfill material. So this one here, it had a parking lot that was getting all kind of wonky because when you build on a landfill, it's not like sturdy, right? So the buildings were built off the landfill site, but the parking lot wasn't. So we had to strip it of a new of all the concrete off. Why they did that, we dug down and pulled up a core sample. So this material right here was buried underground for 46 years. We know that because we pulled out newspapers and different articles that had dates on them and when they were underground. And what we found out is with the lack of oxygen, there's no decomposition going on. So if you see here, this paper was buried for 46 years and you can still read it like it was yesterday. So this is just to tell you that landfill is not our best option. Things we thought were happening in landfills aren't. We're just mummifying our trash. So what is the city of Phoenix doing about that? Well, first, this is our landfill. See that semi truck right there? That is a 53-foot long semi truck. We have 2 transfer stations in the city of Phoenix. We fill that truck to 65,000 pounds and we haul it to the landfill. We haul 150 of those trucks a day to the landfill to dispose of trash. All right, what's the city of Phoenix doing about it? Sorry, this is a fast version. This is a MRF, material recovery facility. This is where all the recycled material goes. This is where all the Coca-Cola bottles, PET plastics, this is where we sort it all out. About a quarter for every time somebody told me I'm not recycling. I don't know, you're retired, you know, but so I kind of changed this up just to kind of show you guys like what's actually going on and how it affects you. So this is a pre-sort line. So about 25% of what goes to the transfer station is not recyclable, it's a contaminant. So these guys are kind of like the keepers of the MRF. They're pulling everything off that's going to damage the equipment, get tangled. Plastic bags are number one thing that's in there. I slowed this down. It's a big chunk of foam. He's throwing that off because we're not recycling foam. Things that don't have a market don't get recycled. So it's got to have a market and it's got to be profitable for us. But these guys are the number one thing because if the equipment shuts down, everybody goes home. We just start cleaning. It's horrible. So what are we doing with paper? So paper, think of paper like that you write on, right? It's real smooth and soft and like easy and you can tear it. Well, as that paper breaks down, those fibers are long. So it gets shorter and shorter and shorter. Think of the end use of paper as like paper towels, napkins, right? The fibers are super short. That's when it's got to be composted or put in the trash. If you want to support a circular economy on paper, make sure you're buying recycled paper because that creates the market in that circular economy. So that's paper in a nutshell. This is how paper gets sorted. So what this is a horrible picture, it's an old picture, but it's a video. So this has big wheels on it that go like this, right? So think of a 2D material will float across the top where 3D material and heavier stuff will fall through the cracks and down below. This is where plastic bags, tanglers, and cords get wrapped up, and that keeps material from falling through the cracks. Let me show you this. So as you see, the paper kind of goes up, and all the other products kind of work their way down. This is the first screen. We screen out the cardboard kind of the same way, but cardboard's bigger, so it's a little bit bigger screen, and then paper goes next. So moving on to plastics. So all of their plastics are PETs. In the city of Phoenix, we're separating our PET plastics, how it gets back to you. You drink your Coca-Cola, you throw it in the recycle bin, it goes to our facility. We have optical sorters that pull it out. A company called Direct Pack is buying our PET materials. They take it back to their facility, they chop it up into what's called flake, and then they have a cleaning system, kind of grinds it with brushes and waters. And so they can separate the PET plastic from the labels and the lids. Usually your lid's like a number 3. So it's a little bit different plastic, but they still use it. So they use water density stuff and they take that PET plastic off. They melt it back down into these huge roll sheets. They push that out and they make it into clamshells. They have a company called Bottle in a Box. The little clamshells you buy like your sandwiches in, different things. That's the bottle going back into a box. So that's why when you throw your Coca-Cola into the recycle bin, it can come back to you as a clamshell. So that's one way that it comes back to you. That's who's buying most of the city of Phoenix. This is a video of the optical sorter, how it pulls out the different kinds of plastics. Go right here, the computer will identify it, hits it with an air gun. So everything else is coming across the conveyor belt like this and just falls off. When it sees a piece of plastic at once, it has an air gun, it shoots it, it flies up and gets over into another bunker. And that's what you're seeing there. And so the PET plastic shoots over the top. That's why if it still has food in it or fluids, or you only drank half your soda, it's too heavy, it won't fly over. So it's not getting recycled. Glass. So in the city of Phoenix, we're lucky enough to be adjacent to Mexico, where we haul all our glass to. So our glass goes to a strategic materials. They chop it up or grind it up even further, and they sort it by color. They truck that down to Mexico. They melt it down in furnaces there. They reshape it into bottles and send it back. And they're telling us that it's a 65-day turnaround on the glass. So it's pretty quick that glass comes back to you. A lot of people can't do glass because it's so heavy, like you can only haul so much at a time. So that's where you have to have somebody that's processing it pretty close for this to work. In the city of Phoenix, it does work. This is a glass crusher. I don't have the video on this one, but this is how we it comes across first sort, breaks the glass into little pieces. The little pieces can fall through the cracks right there. All the other recyclables keep moving on past the glass. Birds love the crushed glass too for some reason. You look at the glass pile, it's just covered in birds. I don't know if it's the wine. For our aluminum, we sort our aluminum cans with a thing called an eddy current. So as the aluminum goes across, same thing, it's going across the conveyor belt like this. Underneath the conveyor belt is an eddy current. Like it's kind of like when you have two batteries, you put them together the wrong way, and you feel that repelling. Well, it shoots it up over a bunker, so it shoots up over into another bunker. Everything else just falls out the conveyor belt straight like this. I think the next slide will show you. Sorry for going so fast. This is the steel first. So the steel is done with a magnet. Magnet's above the conveyor belt. It sucks it up to that conveyor belt, brings it across. The magnet disappears, it drops into a bin. So all your steel cans, your beans and all the stuff you're eating, that's where it goes into that magnetic bin. And then here is an eddy current. You see a little piece of aluminum across it, hit that current, flies over to that far bunker, everything else falls down. It's a really clean sort. You see like one or two pieces of paper go there. After this sort right here from the eddy current, you only need like one employee to pull off the stuff that goes. So it's like a 99% clean sort. And that's one of the last things we do at the MRF is it kind of goes through this big process, and aluminum's kind of the last thing we're pulling off the line there. So plastic bags. You can recycle plastic bags, just not in the city of Phoenix containers. You could take them back to the grocery stores where you buy them. They should have some kind of bag central station, reciprocal there, where you take the plastic bags. A company called Trex, Trex, picks up all the bags in the city of Phoenix, and they make composite wood decking and furniture, playground equipment, stuff like that. It's pressed into these different shapes like fake wood. And it's a really good product in Arizona because we have a lot of termites. Termites don't like it. So it's pretty, I think it's a little more expensive than wood, but it lasts longer. So that's why you see it in a lot of different facilities and playgrounds and stuff. Plastic bags, when they get into our recycle facility, they're still our #1 contaminant. So they get tangled up in that equipment, like that paper sorter is one of the first things, it gets all wrapped around that. And this is what it looks like. So this will happen, they're doing better now, but once or twice a day, they'll have to get in there, the engineers, and they have to cut out all these plastic bags, your Christmas lights, cords on equipment, garden hoses. Some reason everybody throws garden hoses in. I don't know why. They keep garden. But yeah. Yeah, and so this is what happens when you put the plastic bags. I know it was one of you in here.
Can't get him to.
But it slows down the equipment. The longer it takes them to get it, is the less processing we do. Our recycling plant runs pretty much 24 hours a day. There's 2 10-hour shifts, and in between their breaks and lunches, we got these guys in there cleaning the equipment and making sure it runs right.
Wow.
So right now, the city of Phoenix, we have one facility. I'm already out of time. One facility up north and one facility down south. The down south one, we just tore down, we built a brand new one. It's just assembled right now. We're just waiting on electrical kind of stuff to get that up and running again, and that one should be state of the art. These are our eco bins. If you live in multifamily housing or somewhere where there's not recycle, we have 8 of these around the city, different parks. They're up one in each council district. Anybody can participate and put their recyclables in there. We just ask no bags and just make sure it's clean and dry. As the city of Phoenix, I know schools got a lot of students. Well, us on the zero waste team, we have 1,700,000 students that we have to teach every day about recycling. So we use things like this. This is Google Trends. So you can go in and put stuff in there. So we were talking about foam. So we put foam in there, like, oh, wow, there's a lot of interest in foam. And we're like, are people interested in recycling foam? Foam recycling, nothing. Can I recycle my foam mattress? Nothing. How can I recycle foam? Nothing. So people aren't real paying attention to recycling foam, and we don't have a market for it, so we don't market it anyway, but we're trying to see if is this something that's coming up, because people are doing shoes, mattresses. ASU has a big thing on foam right now. We participated in some symposiums there to how to reverse engineer foam and stuff like that. But foam's getting really big, and it's really big in like the mattresses, but they're gluing like 3 or 4 different types of foam together, so you can't take it back apart. So now it's like they're gluing it in a manner. So they were dealing with engineers and stuff and say, well, if we make it this way, but the problem is everybody makes their foam a little different and they're proprietary secrets, and they don't want to tell the other guys how they made it, so nobody can reverse engineer it. But these are things we do.
I have on the waste management. Yeah. You would always complain about how old is the machine.
Yeah.
My question for me is, how are you using artificial intelligence to sort out garbage?
They are using it for identifying stuff.
Cause I saw some of those
Yeah.
machines that look a little old.
Yeah, so it goes fast. It's actually going faster because we used to use different kinds of lasers to identify plastics, but now they're using artificial intelligence to identify shapes too. So it can identify shapes ahead of time and then hit it with the laser and then identify the plastic and then shoot it. So it is getting faster and faster with the artificial intelligence. Our new facility, which is built, was like $20 million. So that's why a lot of equipment is old, because it's so expensive for a municipality to replace it and build a new one. It really has to be planned out in advance. And you have other cities, smaller cities, that can't afford that kind of cost. And so they have to truck their materials to us. So Avondale brings all their material to us, and it wouldn't be cost effective for them to build a MRF. So especially with all the new equipment that's going in and different styles, when they can just take it to us for a fraction of the cost. So our MRFs are all ran by a company called Balcones, and they profit share with us. So that's their incentive to have real good, clean bales, is because the more money we make, the more money they make. And so that's all our bales and everything are. See, that's it.
You are so good. I mean, it's amazing when you think about it. I really love this presentation and the knowledge you share, because I'm really big into recycling, but I don't know what happens when I throw it in that little bin.
And we do free tours of our facility too. If you go online, phoenix.gov/recycle, you can sign up for a tour. We usually do them on Thursdays, it takes about 45 minutes. There's a giant catwalk that walks around the middle, and we can show you the garbage drive and the recycle side. We kind of walk things back from your drive.
I remember one time they were checking people's recyclers.
Yeah.
To make sure that they're always putting recyclable stuff in there, but that only happened once, and I don't.
So it's called a Oops Shine On program. It's like, oops, you made a mistake, trying to be nice. And what they do is drivers turn those in. They say, hey, this route is bad. And so for 4 weeks in a row, they'll run that route, and they'll tag cans and educate people. And if on the 4th week you're still contaminating, they take your can. And so it ran for 4 weeks, and then they probably moved to another route. So yeah, we still have enough staff to stay on it all the time, because they got to get out there early. They got to get in front of the truck, and then they got to go check it. So, but that's probably what it was.
Yeah, because I thought that was probably helpful.
Yeah, it does. And you'll see, like, when we'll educate a neighborhood like that, it gets better, and then we'll stop. And then as the months go by, it starts fading out.
Pay attention, people. No plastic bags in the recycling. Take them to your grocery store. But thank you again. Today. See if I can get you.
I have a question for the gentleman.
Oh, no, nice. You'll have to connect with him. Let's see here. I'm gonna get this set up. We were sharing. All right, our final speaker, last but far, please. We have Simon Lara with the city of Avondale. He's a solid waste manager. Spent over 18 years of solid waste experience and 19 years working in the public sector. Has a master's of administration and public management and is a veteran of the Marine Corps. So thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. So best for last, I like to say. So, thank you, Jeff. Kind of stole my thunder. So I'm gonna be talking about, so basically, I'm gonna be talking about operations. This is what I do. So this is what you guys do. So you guys, from start to finish, so boots on the ground. And just go over what we see and, the obstacles we have, and obviously, about the MRF. So the MRF again is the material recovery facility. Today, we're gonna talk about, where does your recycling go? What are the recycling challenges? And how can you guys help? It starts with you guys. So I'm excited. I came to Australia, got my associates here, and then got my master's and bachelor's at NAU. So it's full circle. Come here as a student, now doing a presentation. So I'm excited. So what do we do first? Okay, at your house, in a business, obviously you throw it in a blue bin, the universal sign for recycling, right? So we throw it in a recycling bin. Second, we throw it in our, trash receptacle or recycle receptacle outside. So we have 90-gallon recycle containers. So after that, our team, City of Avondale picks it up, and what you see here is a residential automated truck. Back in the day, in the late 80s, early 80s, 70s, everything was hand thrown, for garbage. Now everything's automated. So like Jeff was saying, a lot of cities partner with either the private or public sector, and Phoenix is one of them. So our recycled materials goes to the transfer station in Lower Buckeye. And from Lower Buckeye until their facilities, until they get that facility in MRF going, it goes all the way up to Dixoletta. So it has two locations it has to go first, right? We pick it up, we go to Buckeye, we drop it off. It's called a transfer facility, hence transfer. So what they do is transfer that material up north to Dixoletta and I-17. And that's where they have their facility. So Jeff showed you a couple videos. I'm going to show you, hopefully it works, the tour of their facility. And, like he said, what we call in the industry is tanglers. You got your garden hose, Christmas lights that's coming up, that's something big, and plastic bags. That's a nuisance for a facility like this, and you'll see here in the video. So we'll just put it in there. Fingers crossed.
We'll get technical help.
Okay, in case the video doesn't play, I'll try to describe it. So we back up our vehicles, we dump it in a floor. So what the city of Phoenix does is they come up to bulldozers and put it in a baler. So what the baler does, it goes through so many belts. And again, you have people that are working, sorting the material, and it goes through many steps. It separates paper, cardboard, aluminum, plastics, and then all those sorters, if it's not recyclable, all they do is just take it out and put it aside, which goes to the landfill and gets disposed of. No? Okay. So.
Oh, I'm afraid.
Okay, that's fine.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So what Jeff showed you earlier, the videos, that's basically what the MRF does, okay? So at the end product, so the good stuff gets packaged and shipped out so it can be reused and recycled. Unfortunately, what's not recyclable, it just goes to the landfill. So if you think you're recycling and it's not recyclable, unfortunately, it's just a longer ride to the landfill. That's what we like to say. So, we got our wishful thinkers, wishful recycling, but it's up to you, whatever city you're in, look at your website and see what you can recycle and what's not recyclable. So we did an audit a couple of months ago for, the campus here, and a lot of pizza boxes were thrown away. So on the pizza box, it says, hey, you can recycle. But why do you guys think that that's not recyclable? And it's not. Anybody knows why that we can't recycle that box? Yes, ma'am.
Is it the grease?
It's the grease. So anything that contaminates paper products like grease, pizza boxes, you know, you see a domino box and it says recyclable, which is not. Probably you can tear the top off, but whatever has the grease or the residual, you cannot recycle that. So the major challenges right now, obviously, number one is contamination. You know, what we recycle, what we think we can recycle. And I think it was you that said, I forgot your name, I'm sorry. Bridget, yeah, how can I forget Bridget? Bridget said China stopped in 2017? And they're the world, they bought all the plastics. Okay, so I've been in the industry 19 years and again, what we were sending to China was not clean recycling. That's why they stopped. We're sending some hazards in there, so when they opened the bales, it was just nothing but trash. So again, there was a paradigm shift when China stopped taking our recyclables. So as you know, as America, we had to think, okay, how do we better ourselves, you know, to become better recycling? So what we can do is obviously reduce, reuse, then we recycle. Purchase and support use of recycled goods. Ensure that the right items are placed in our recycling bin. Again, when in doubt, throw it out.
That's easy to remember.
When in doubt, throw it out. And it's exciting to see you guys here. Again, you're the next generation. It starts with you. Come up with new ideas. Again, being in the industry, you know, the city, sometimes cities are scared to go outside or think outside the box. But again, it starts with you guys. It starts with, you know, how can I be a better recycler? Okay, I suggest, so my career, you know, I started and I've been to a landfill. If you guys haven't been to a landfill, just go take a tour at the landfill if they let you, so you can see what we as Americans are throwing away. You'd be surprised. You're like, we can do so much. And we haven't even touched the sustainability part, the food waste. You know how much food waste is at the landfill? Breaks my heart. So we consume a lot and we waste a lot, unfortunately. But again, it starts with education. We gotta know, we gotta be good stewards. It's Earth Day every day, not just one day. It's every day. So it's up to you guys, you know, to be sustainable. Again, being in the industry, you learn about recycling, you learn about water, you learn about water waste, you learn about food waste, composting. But it's up to you guys. Hey, you know, you guys are the next generation. It show each generation, hey, look, we gotta be better stewards of recycling. That's it. Any questions?
All right, so now I know you're all going to be pretty mindful and thoughtful before you throw that plastic water bottle in the garbage can, right? We are going to be bringing some food in. We have some food that's available, and so that they're going to bring it in. And then also from 11 o'clock till 1, so from now until 1 o'clock, we've got some really awesome tables and booths over in the Kamakli courtyard. And there's also a fry bread truck where you can get some free samples of some fry bread too. Thank you all for being here today.